Boys and girls, hello and welcome back to FIFA 23 Career Mode with Arsenal Football Club under a fresh Arteta. Not the hero we have in real life, but some kind of fraudulent counterfeit. We are back with what I believe to be part 6, maybe. Lost track of it a little bit now, but yeah, something like that. It'll be on the video title anyway, so you'll know. So we are getting back into this now. We left off with a heavy smashing of AC Milan. We dealt some real damage to them. Not sure where that leaves us in terms of the SA Continental Cup. I think we're out of it because it actually says that our next game is Brentford. So I think we crashed out of that after being dealt with in the first 2 games. So we kind of rekindled a bit of form, as I say, in that game against AC Milan. But without further ado, let's try and whisk some time away and get a little bit closer to where we need to be. So you've scored a monthly report. Let's see who we have in here now then. So Petrov and Mendes are the only two with any real potential. Nothing to stand out there, so nothing really to get excited about, but could be ones to watch for the future, that is for sure. So we'll just keep an eye on them and see how they develop as time passes on. So this lad is somebody we are very excited about. Everyone keeps coming with loan to buy offers, and we obviously just want to send him out on loan to get a little bit of experience, and then get him back in when he's really progressed. But whenever we press this button here, the propose without a loan, or sorry, with a loan without buy, they just seem to storm out. Yeah, as predicted. So he's done the exact same thing. Interesting, that was RB Leipzig. That was one of the teams who did smash us in pre-season. In a previous episode, if you want to go back and have a look at that, that's good fun. But I try and kind of push that out of my memory. Rob Holding. So I do like Rob Holding. I think he's a good little squad player, and we are going to keep him for that exact reason. What I'm going to do is bring in another left-footed centre back. So as I said before, we're looking at Evan Ndicka as a potential replacement for him in real life, and that's probably the same suit I'm going to follow in this walkthrough as well, in this career mode, because I want to kind of mimic that as close as I can. So Mudryk I haven't purchased. I did go for Rafael Leao, as I believed him to be slightly closer to the finished article, and he will be starting the very first Premier League game against Brentford, because he's a very physical player as well. And obviously this game went extremely well for us. In real life, we dealt some damage to Brentford. Very convincing win over them, compared to the season prior where it was a 2-0 loss. So things are progressing really well within the Arsenal squad. So let's hope we can mimic that a bit. So what we're going to do, we're going to start today by bringing in a big man. So we're going to bring in Evan, because we need him as that backup centre back. And again, he's quite young, so another one that will progress even further and become a potential contender for Gabriel and Saliba to try and fight off. Now, Gabriel in real life doesn't have a mistake in him, and that is why in real life Evan Ndicka is being looked at, because he's just one of those players where he's very good. Don't get me wrong, Gabriel's very good, but when you have a mistake like that in the bank, you're kind of just waiting for it to happen at all times. Similar to how Granit Xhaka was. Granit Xhaka has really matured in this Mikel Arteta system, though, so it's worked out very well for him. But Gabriel has not followed the same suit, sadly. Okay, so we have an interesting offer here for Thomas Partey. Don't really have a replacement for him at the moment, so that's not an offer I'm going to be accepting. That's a simple straight rejection. That's something we need to look at. We need to look at a replacement for Thomas Partey. If you do have any ideas on who that could be, let me know. Because I can't think of anyone who comes straight to mind. Yeah, we'll accept that for Marquinhos. We need a strong holder midfield. I mean, Declan Rice would be perfect, but probably a little bit out of the budget. But somebody like that, somebody of that kind of calibre, is what we need at Arsenal Football Club. Because it's been very difficult for us to replace that defensive midfield position even since Patrick Vieira left. We've kind of filled the role with Francis Coquelin or Mathieu Flamini temporarily, but Thomas Partey's come into it now. He's a much more technical defensive midfielder, but his main problem is just simply staying fit. The amount of injuries this man gets, the amount of games he misses is a big problem, and you don't see that with the likes of Rodri and Casemiro. He's a different type of player, Thomas Partey, but his injury record is a big shame because there's so much talent there, so much potential. So whoever we do bring in kind of has to tick that box as being a solid player. As you can see here, that Harry Kane has actually gone to PSG in an attempt to actually finally get a single bit of silverware, other than the Audi Cup, which Spurs are completely incapable of delivering. So good on him. Albert Sambi Lokonga on a 1-year loan deal. Yeah, I'm happy with that. He's going to get much more game time there for sure. He's another one. Not ready, not the finished article by any means, but still very young and has a few years ahead of him, I think, before he really gets a look into that first team. But we also have a lot of young players out on loan who could come into that midfield area as well. Can definitely see Charlie Patino out on loan in the Championship at the moment, absolutely killing it. Definitely earned himself a look in at least in the near future. So what we're going to do here is, obviously we're looking at this Brentford game. We are going to start the game with Ben White. No, we're not. We're gonna give Wagnerman a run out. Other than that, Saka, Jesus, Leao, Xhaka, Partey, Ødegaard. I like it. I like it a lot. Where's Zinchenko? We need him. Where do we need him? He might have to miss out. He might have to sit in the reserves for now. Yep, he's gonna have to miss out this game. So let's get this underway. We begin our first game against Brentford. It's a big game for us because we are beginning. Here it is, boys. The first game. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. This is a colossal moment.
The action comes your way next on EA TV.
A very physical start to the season against Brentford. Ivan Toney and the like is going to be a big, tough game for us. But we shall see how we get in here. So, let's get this underway. And we are off. Hang on, let me turn that train off again. I don't know why it likes to keep turning itself on. Frustratingly. But we are off here. Focus areas that needs to go off as well. That's also very frustrating. I don't know why this wants to kind of have that on. A bit random, isn't it? FIFA trainer, hide. So that's off. Not sure what that is, so we'll just have to leave it for now. So, okay, opening day, big day for us. Obviously in real life we've dealt with these boys, so see if we can have the same kind of impact here. There's a lot going on with Ivan Toney in real life at the moment. Big betting scandal. Quite a colossal one. I think it's around 300 charges of betting. So what he would do is he'd bet on himself getting like a corner or a red card or something like that in the game, which is obviously not good. But interestingly, Brentford are continuing to play him despite that fact. So they're fully aware of him match fixing within their games, getting himself red carded, but they're still happy to play him, which is, I mean, if I was a manager of that club and I knew that my striker was kind of deliberately getting himself red carded just to earn a bit more money on the side, he would be straight out of the team. I know he's clearly a talent, but that's not good enough. It's not good enough for a Premier League player like Ivan Toney, especially a player with so much potential, so much talent. To do that. So we've started very well here with Gabriel Jesus rifling one into the back of the net. That is absolutely gorgeous to behold. Very happy with that signing from Manchester City. Brilliant business from Arteta to bring in Jesus and Zinchenko, raiding those City archives. again, he was kind of a bit on the fringes of Manchester City, even with the departure of Aguero. He'd been kind of studying the way Aguero would play for so long, and then when Aguero did finally leave, Gabriel didn't get his chance, which just kind of seems a bit against the grain, but obviously there's some part of his game which Pep didn't like, and it's probably the clinical nature or the absence of clinical nature within his game, and I think that's kind of reinforced by their signing of Erling Haaland, who we know is clinical. He just needs one chance, Erling Haaland, and there's no doubt he'll convert that. Gabriel Jesus, that's kind of his weakness. What he's very good at is his hold-up play, very good on the ball, dribbling, just incredible. But it is unfortunately just his final shot, which does let him down slightly. And when you're in that Manchester City side, although you're going to get a crazy amount of chances when it comes to the Champions League, which is without a doubt their next target, you're going to need to be clinical, because you're not going to get as many chances as you're going to get against these kind of lesser teams in the Premier League. And obviously that is the next goal for Pep Guardiola, to get that Champions League trophy for Man City, because European silverware is something that has escaped Manchester City for so long. It's been a frustrating time for City when it comes to Europe, but their domestic success has been rife, so that kind of more than makes up for it. Another great goal there from Gabriel Jesus. Good ball through from Saka. So Jesus already with 2 goals so early on in the season. He's probably going to be our top scorer here in this series, especially if he keeps going like this. But what we are seeing here is much better performance defensively since changing these tactics. As I say, the attacking setup was never a problem, but the way we play defensively is very, very good. It looks very, very promising. Good press there from Gabriel.
It'll go harmlessly through to the goalkeeper.
So tonight in real life, Arsenal take on Oxford in the FA Cup. So yesterday I went to go see Norwich City, to go see them play against Blackburn for their new manager. Unfortunately, couldn't get the win they were after, but it's a good game nonetheless. So we are absolutely dealing with Brentford here, similar to how Arsenal did deal with Brentford in the actual Premier League. It was a 4-0 rout, and that was kind of a game that had a lot of focus after the season prior to that. Brentford winning 2-0 against us in the open day of the season. And that game did get a lot of focus in the All or Nothing documentary, because it was kind of, a big moment for Arteta. He used that as motivation, and it was fuel for a lot of players to focus on what they were doing. He actually put a tweet up that Ivan Toney sent out that said, just another kickabout with the boys, kind of diminishing how much of a challenge Arsenal Football Club were to them. And I think he used that very well to kind of motivate the players and just see what other clubs really thought about them. I think Arsenal typically have been stylized as this team with a lot of class, a lot of talent, but have always just been lacking that kind of that backbone, that physicality. And what Arteta's focused on very much within his first couple of years at the club has been that physicality, and we've seen the transformation in no time at all. He has completely transformed the club into being a physical phenomenon. And as I say, we saw that in that game against Brentford, because Brentford away is a very tough game to get into, because we know how physical Brentford are going to be. But for Arsenal to come out of that 4 goals to the good is a massive statement. And that's kind of continued to reflect in every game following that, really. As I say, that's what a lot of teams would use to put Arsenal down. They knew that it was a team that lacked aggression, that lacked a bit of a spine. But Arteta has firmly put that spine in place, and it is a force to be reckoned with.
And it's Gabriel Jesus.
So we're progressing very well here. Looking good. The combination plays have been very impressed with. Especially Saka and Jesus. Jesus has been man of the match for me so far. He's been involved in everything really, hasn't he? Very impressive. So the kind of transfers I want to sort out are another backup centre-back for Gabriel, probably in the form of Evan Ndicka. And what I want to also do is just bring in another midfielder to take that Granit Xhaka spot. And a future backup for, or a future replacement I should say, for Thomas Partey. Because although we have Lokonga as a potential understudy, I don't think he's going to be the player we need him to be. Again, a lot of potential, but there's just so much more that he has to learn in this game. But as a leader, you know, he was the captain of the club that he came from at the age of 21, I believe. So I mean, that's a statement in itself. To have such a young player as captain of your club, I think it speaks volumes. And I think he did come from. It was the team, I can't quite remember the name of it, it was a team managed by Vincent Kompany, who also spoke very, very highly of Lokonga. So again, and obviously Kompany knows everything you need to know about being a leader. After his brilliant career with Manchester City, he knows his stuff. And we're seeing that again with his time at Burnley. Actually, I think he's surprised a few people. He's definitely a very charismatic character, and tactically he's done well to match up with that as well. So at the time of this video, Burnley are currently top of the Championship, ready to get themselves back into the Premier League after that kind of shock relegation and sacking of Sean Dyche. He did seem a little bit timeless almost, didn't he, Sean Dyche? But there was a lot of outrage when they sacked him. But you know, if you were a Burnley fan, I would personally, although it's hard to see that, I know Sean Dyche did a lot for the club, but I think in terms of looking forward, Sean Dyche was never going to be the man to actually bring Burnley forward. He was always a solid option, you know, kind of like how your Sam Allardyces are, your Steve Bruces. You know what you're getting. And I don't think I would have been happy if I was a Burnley fan to see another year of Sean Dyche. I think bringing in Kompany was definitely a good way to just put in place some potential progression, you know. Similar to what Arsenal have done. We didn't go for the safe option. We went for the option which we thought was going to bring the club forward, and it's more than paid off so far with what we're seeing from Mikel Arteta. So that's that, 4-1. Not quite the 4-0 that we had in real life, but it's a very good result against a tough Brentford side. For me, Gabriel Jesus, man of the match. Phenomenal performance. I think he got himself a couple of goals in there as well, but it's just all-round build-up play. The way he links up with Saka especially is very good. Been very impressed with that so far. So we're off to winning ways. That's good to see. So another offer from Spurs of all people, trying to get hold of Kieran Tierney for 34 million. Now, no, I've got a lot of love for Kieran Tierney, very, very talented player, but for Tottenham to come in, and the bid is offensive. Never happening. Never selling to Tottenham unless it's for somebody that I know would be a burden to the squad. So Ndicka looking like a very good option here. 20 years of age, 81 rated centre back. 74 acceleration, 84 sprint speed, 82 jumping. He obviously is 6'4", so jumping isn't really necessary, but he's got that as well. Looking like a very good option. So we've got a message here. Thanks for giving me the chance. That's not a problem, mate. Outstanding, son. Phenomenal young man. Thank you so much for your time at the club. So let's advance this a little bit. We're now walking. I'm thinking this is Marquinhos out on his loan move, maybe. I'm thinking that's who that's supposed to be. Obviously, he hasn't got a player face yet, as he's very young and very new to the club. Looks almost as good as Arteta. Yeah, so that's Marquinhos, 2-year loan out to Celta, so we won't see him again for a long time. Not He needs to develop. We've got Saka and Nelson covering that wing, so he's not a necessity. Right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the inbox because I know we do have another email. Okay, so that's just confirming the Marquinhos loan, which we already knew. Okay, so my next step is going to be heading to the Transfer Hub and negotiating the Evan Ndicka deal.